Good morning, dear friends and guests. Thank you for coming. I am Elena Petrova, a teacher from Rustavi. And to start my session, I want to ask you, my colleagues. So, all of us teach some grammar structures almost every day. What are the main problems that you face while teaching grammar? Can you name some of them? What are the main problems you face while teaching grammar?
Sometimes grammar is boring for students and teachers have to make it interesting.
So, it's boring for students, okay? What other problems?
Some grammar rules are too complicated.
So, difficult rules, okay? Thank you. What another point? Okay.
Just we have to give a lot of written exercises, just to write some exercises, and it's boring for our students.
So
they don't like writing a lot of exercises.
So you don't like?
My students don't like to write the exercises, and me too. I don't like giving a lot of exercises.
A lot of exercises. So do you need a lot of time to prepare for grammar lessons, or you do it very easily and in 1 minute or 5 minutes? Do you prepare for grammar lessons before it at home? So
actually it is beforehand, because it's really very hard how to pre-teach the rule, how to make it easier to grasp and to understand.
So it needs a lot of preparation.
It needs a lot of preparation, and we think about the practice, how to deliver the theory plus practice. Not to make it very boring, actually.
It needs a lot of preparation and practice, okay? Yeah. So, difficult rules. And are these difficult rules difficult for our students? Are they hard for our students? How do you think? So, sure. What is hard for them? To understand, to memorize it, to use. What is the most hard point for you?
I think that it's most hard for them to guess these rules.
So, hard
so the rules are
to guess.
Yeah.
To guess them. Okay. Then maybe.
Or use.
Sometimes they know the rules, but
you can't
trouble
with practice.
Yes, the most problem is.
Okay. What another? And maybe understanding.
Yes. Yes, perhaps.
So today I'm going to prove that grammar and teaching grammar can be fun and engaging. And to start my session, I want to show you a nice picture of my friend. This is Jack. He is my friend. And look at this photo. How do you think? Why is he sad? Why is he sad?
He has no money.
Yes, he has no money. And what another point do you have? Maybe he has problems with his girlfriend.
Maybe he wants to buy something.
Maybe he wants to buy something. Yes, great. So this is my friend Jack, and he is very sad because, of course, he has no money. He has no money. And what happens if my friend Jack, what is this? What is this?
Is it a lottery ticket?
Yes, it's a lottery ticket. And what happens if my friend Jack wins a lottery? What happens if my friend wins?
He will buy.
He will be rich.
He will buy a present for his girlfriend. Maybe
he will be
much more
He will be happier.
Whatever he wants.
Okay, thank
Maybe
you.
he will travel.
And my friend Jack wants to buy a car. The first thing that he wants to buy is a car. So if he was rich, he would buy a car. Can you repeat the sentence, please?
If he was rich, he would buy a car.
He would eat buy a car. Can you repeat, please? He'd buy
buy a car.
the whole sentence, please.
And he would hit.
If he was
Rich, he would hit buy a car.
Thank you. Can you repeat?
If he was rich, he would buy a car.
Thank you. Can you repeat, please?
If he was rich, he would buy a car.
Thank you. He would hit. Thank you. This is the car. It's not the only thing he would buy. Here's another picture. Whoa. He would also buy a yacht. So if he was rich, he would buy a. Can you repeat the whole sentence, Inga?
So if
He was rich.
he would buy a yacht.
Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, if he was rich, he would buy a yacht.
Thank you very much. So he would buy a yacht too. And the third thing he would buy is house. So can you say the sentence about the house?
If he was rich, he would buy a house.
Thank you very much. And you please
If
can
he
you?
was rich, he would buy a house.
He would hit
Buy a house.
buy a house. Thank you very much. Is this situation real? For this situation, is this situation real?
No.
No, it's unreal. Is it likely? No, unlikely. So it's a dream. It's a dream. He dreams of being rich and the things he can buy. So, and now, can you ask me some questions? What would I do if I was rich, or what would I buy if I was rich? Can you ask me some questions? Okay.
Elena, what would you do or buy if you were rich?
So if I was rich, I would buy a shelter, or I would buy a house and give opportunity for homeless animals maybe to live there. Have you another questions for me? Okay.
What would you do if you won a lottery?
So I will give some money to my relatives, and then I would go to Washington once more, and once more, and once more. So, another questions?
Would you travel if you won a lottery?
Yes, of course, because I want to travel a lot to many countries.
Where would you travel?
So I would go to some countries of Europe, and then to the USA, of course. I'm in love with Washington. Okay, and now please, can you ask your partner about what will they do, or what will they buy if they were rich?
Okay,
Share with your partner your ideas. So thank you. And can you tell what will your partner do if he was rich or if she was rich?
Okay, if she was rich, she would buy a house for any relative she needs, and many other good things to help other people in need.
Okay, thank you. And what about your partner?
Okay, if Nana was rich, she would buy a shelter for homeless animals.
Too. Okay, thank you. Lana, what can you tell about your partner?
If Nana was rich, she would buy a new apartment.
Okay. Lana, what about Lana?
If Irma was rich, she would buy a car.
Oh, great. And what about you girls?
If she were rich, she would buy a house.
House. Big
If
house.
she was rich, she would buy a big
A
big
big
plane
house.
just to travel around the world.
Okay, and a big plane.
Yes.
What about you girls?
If my colleague wanted lottery, she would buy all things that she needs, like the house, like maybe car, and even island.
Wow, great. And what about your partner?
So actually it depends on the amount of money.
Yes.
And she would like to share it with his family and friends and people around.
Okay, thank you. What about you?
So if she really a millionaire, first of all she would travel.
Oh, travel. And
But if she were a millionaire, she wouldn't give up teaching at school.
That's the thing.
thank you. What about you?
She would buy a luxury car.
Oh, great.
But if we were rich, she would travel around the world.
Okay, what about you?
If Inga was rich, she would travel around the world.
Inga, what about Rita?
If Rita was rich, she would buy a
Thank you very much. And what about you?
If Nino was rich, she would buy a luxury car and a house.
Okay, you know what? Eleve.
If Elena was rich, she would give this money to her daughter.
Okay, thank you very much for your sharing. And we have another character. It's Jack's girlfriend. And don't judge from her appearance. Don't judge. Don't judge. But she doesn't want to buy anything. She wants to give money to charity. So, nice girl. Look at the picture. So she doesn't want to spend all her money. She wants to give money to charity. And would she buy a car if she was rich?
No.
No. So she. So can you make up the whole sentence, please?
So if she were rich, she would not buy a car.
Great. Thank you very much. Can you repeat, Elena?
If she were rich, she would not buy a car.
So she would not buy a car. Okay. And what about yacht? Would she buy a yacht?
No, she would not buy a yacht.
Can you say the whole sentence, please?
If she was rich, she would not buy a yacht.
So she would not buy a yacht. And what about the house? Would she buy a house? Would she buy a house?
No, she
No,
wouldn't.
she wouldn't. So can you tell the whole sentence, please?
If she was rich, she wouldn't buy a house.
So she would not buy a house. Can you repeat, please, Irma?
If she was a rich woman, she wouldn't buy a house.
Okay. Can you repeat about this picture?
If she were rich, she wouldn't buy a car.
Thank you. Can you repeat Inga with this picture?
If she was rich, she wouldn't buy a yacht.
Thank you. And Rita, what about
If
this?
she was rich, she would not buy a house.
So, thank you very much. And now I have very nice situations for you to discuss with your partner. For example, what would you do if you saw the president in the street? And the second situation, what would you do if you saw your husband's wallet full of money? So, please ask your partner these questions and answer them. Okay?
So, what would you do if you saw the president in the street? Supposed to answer. So, if I saw the president in the street, I would ask him about his future plans. His private say hello to everyone. Say hello. Your husband's wallet.
Thank you for your sharing.
Very poor.
Thank you. And now I want to ask you these questions, and I'm interested in your answer. Can I?
Sure.
Okay. So, Nana, what would you do if you saw the president in the street?
Okay, I would say if I saw the president in the street, I would say hello.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Rita? What would you do if you saw your husband's wallet full of money?
If she had a husband.
You would buy a gift for you. Oh, great. And the next question. What would you do if you won a lot of money in the lottery?
If I won a lot of money on the lottery, I would buy a part of this money.
Okay, thank you. And Nino, what would you do if you had a supercar? What would you do?
If I had a supercar, I would travel a lot.
Okay, thank you. Nino, what would you do if you saw your boyfriend's diary left open?
I would leave it open.
You would not read. The next question. What would you do if you change? What would you change if you were the prime minister? What would you change? I had some interesting ideas.
I would improve some circumstances for teachers and raise their salary.
Thank you. Another question. What would you do if you caught a goldfish?
So if I caught a goldfish, of course I would spend some minutes to think about the first training to
Okay. And the last one, Katie. What would you do if you were a magician?
I cannot imagine actually.
So that's why it's a dream.
Yes,
It's
probably I
situation.
would start to improve my career in this field.
In this field?
Yeah.
So in teaching area.
I cannot imagine myself as a magician.
Being a
actually.
magician. Okay. Thank you very much. And now let's sum up the whole rule on the board. Can you remember what was the first sentence about my friend Jack? What was the first sentence? Do you remember?
It was said.
If
If
he
about
had, if he
has money,
if he was
rich,
he would
Buy a car.
buy a car.
Then he would buy a yacht.
Yes, thank you. It's a positive. So, if past and then would. What about negative form? If about his girlfriend. If she was rich, she
Would not buy.
would not buy a car. Past and would. And the last question? Okay. What would you do if you were rich? So it was second conditional. Once more, it's unlikely situation, it's a dream. For this moment, it is impossible. Okay, and now, please put on your teacher's hat, and let's talk about the problems that you had at the beginnings. So, boring for students, difficult rules, do not like writing written exercises, needs a lot of preparation, practice, it's hard to guess, use or understand. So, judging from this activity, which I have now, what can you tell me about the solutions to these problems? What are the solutions to these problems? Can you name some, judging from this activity?
Okay. Using visuals effectively to raise students' engagement and their interest.
So did you like the picture that I used?
Yes, very much.
So it is. So now it is interesting for students. It raises interest. Okay. What another about difficult rules? What are your suggestions about difficult
There
rules?
wasn't any rule.
Yeah.
Only examples.
Only examples. And then I wrote after the context.
Yes.
So it was the activity, and then we wrote the whole rule. What about written exercises? What suggestions can you recommend to your teachers? What written exercises?
It can be speaking activity.
It can be speaking activity, of course. And what about written? What are your suggestions? We didn't have written exercise now, but what would be your suggestions about?
To make some kind of funny sentences about
About?
using these structures.
This
Provide
structure.
smile, more
Oh,
smile.
great! Funny exercise, funny sentences. Thank you.
Or
What
maybe
about?
real life situations.
What about a lot of preparation? It needs a lot of preparation. I spent about 30 minutes
You can
preparing
download from
this handout.
You can download from the internet ready pictures.
Yes, there are lots of resources
Yes,
on
some
the
resources.
internet. We can
Printable
download and
materials.
just
Or you
color them or just do it more easier. And what about practice? Did you have a lot of practice?
Yes,
No.
actually, we did.
What kind of practice did you have?
Okay, first you told us gave us the example, and then with your help we practiced, and then we practiced on our own. So there was lots of practice. Yeah, so it was first a statement, then was negative, and there was question as well. So there was lots of practice, and it was not boring.
What about the staging? Was it difficult to follow the staging for you?
No.
And can you remember the stages once more?
You led us from the simple sentences a little more complicated, and the way you led us, it was scaffolded very well.
Okay. And what about understanding? Was it difficult to you to understand the structure? Was it difficult? No. How did you feel about this activity as a student?
Comfortable.
Comfortable? So in which area it was the most comfortable? In which area it was the most comfortable?
Maybe contextualization or in pictures. Maybe to share some things with partner.
For your partner.
Working as a pairs.
Okay. Did you like working with your peers?
Yes, sure.
How it raises motivation or to students to be engaged while speaking in pairs? Well, so when I speak with my partner, I am interested. So what will be his or her answer?
Yeah, it's a real life situation.
Real life situations, yes. And what about understanding? So it was quite clear for you to understand? Absolutely. And now I want to ask you, what are the ways you teach grammar? How do you teach grammar? What do you use? What methods do you use to teach grammar? Can you name some? So, do you use some just rules or another activities? So, from your experience.
Generally, I begin with practice, without any rules, just practice.
So,
of course, it can be some handouts or it can be some real situation. For example,
can you give me a real example from your
yes,
experience?
for example, if we are going to teach comparing of entities, you can take 3 different things and compare. Was this bigger? Was this much bigger? Or so. This real situation.
Or maybe to talk about weather.
Yeah.
Compare the weather in different kind of regions.
Okay.
Yes, sure. Or even in Georgia, we can compare different kind of weather condition in Georgia.
So what can we use for this? What materials can we use
All
for?
authentic materials, maybe
Authentic
resources
materials?
from the internet,
Okay.
some images,
Resources.
some printable materials.
Resources from internet, yeah? authentic materials.
Yes.
What else do you
Visual
use?
aids.
Visual aids. For example,
So the way you presented us today, it was a kind of visual aid because you show us some pictures, and this was a good way of showing visual aids.
so pictures. Sometimes we need objects, maybe.
Yeah. Pictures, objects, PowerPoint presentation.
And what about games? Do you use some kind of games to teach grammar rules? What kind of games? Can you share from your experience?
Like role play.
Role play? Okay, so games. Role play. And Catherine, can you share your example while using a role play?
With previous rotation of access program, we've had that kind of situation to like a role play. We divided class into two groups. Like one group of kids were workers, and another one is like employment.
Employers.
Yes, and they had situation that they must to communicate with each other about some kind of issues on salary aspect. So they've done this activity just perfectly.
And what structure did they use? What grammar structure did they use?
Not really. Probably
Must or can models, or what did you use during this activity?
We've had this kind of conversational part, like developing speaking skills for kids. Yes.
So in this case, sometimes we can use some models or present simple or maybe future simple.
Future,
He
yeah.
will, or maybe
Was actually, as I remember, it was like 2 years ago. So it was like future simple, I guess.
So thank you. What another suggestions do you have while teaching grammar? What ways do you use to teach grammar?
Okay, sometimes I personalize some stories or some information about me, and students are eager to listen about the teacher.
Great point. So personal stories, yeah?
Yeah.
Personal stories. Personal stories. What else do you use? Don't you use some songs for teaching grammar?
Yeah.
So, for this activity and for teaching second conditional, you can always Google the internet and find very nice song with the name "If I Were a Boy." As I remember, it is Beyonce or someone, and it helps and it really works. And that's a kind of resources you can use, and sometimes you can avoid some rules. And sometimes it is necessary to start your lesson with explanation of the rule and then give them practice. Sometimes you need to explain the rule, but don't use the rules all the time. Don't use the rules all the time. And now, how this approach is more beneficial than the traditional one? How do you like this method? How it is more beneficial than the traditional one? Nana, can you share this?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'd like to begin with the statement that students are more interested with the material and they are listening more attentively because I think that they will find new information and they are given the chance to express their ideas, and that's why it will be more beneficial.
So will this activity be more beneficial for all the students? For all the students?
Yeah, sure, I think so.
Great, thank you. Can you share with us?
Like first you provide the example,
and then you provide real life examples, and that is easy for the learners to understand the idea. And then you practice and practice and practice the structure, and then the students themselves come to the conclusion. So it's easier for as a learner to see how I can use it in the structure and how I can use. And if I repeat and repeat over and over, it sticks and it's easier to remember, and then it's easier to conclude. I mean to.
To use it, maybe.
To use it, and then from example to rule.
Like
you start from example to rule. Sometimes you can start
when they pick up the some grammar rules unconsciously.
Unconsciously.
Yes, not concentrating on grammar rules.
So they are not afraid, and they feel easy. They feel comfortable. Okay.
I think that it's worth mentioning that the students communicate while memorizing, while practicing grammar, and I think that it helps them to memorize, to practice, and then to use grammar in context and in real life communication.
So we use speaking activities too while conducting our lesson.
It is not just grammar, but it's also speaking and listening.
They are more motivating because they like this kind of activities, like songs or role plays. They are more active.
So, thank you for your sharing. And for the edition of my session, I have handouts with the structure of my lesson. And when you have time, please have a look on it and try this activity at your lessons, because I tried it several times this week and the week before, and it really helped. All the students were engaged, even the students who are less, or how to say, low-level students. So they tried to express their ideas, and all of the students were really engaged. Thank you for coming, and this is the plan, and you can use it whenever you want. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.